Hello, it's Coleraine or Coleraine Tarot here on YouTube. Welcome back if you are a returning subscriber, and if you are new here, welcome. So today I wanted to make a video where we talk about the things that are coming towards you, kind of what you're manifesting, but more of like unexpected blessings or just unexpected events that are coming towards you. So I want to create a space together. In the beginning, if you've ever watched any of my videos, you'll know that I like to set the intention together so that you can get grounded, meditate a little bit on the beginning of this video and the intention that we're setting in this video, and then you'll be able to choose your piles. If that's not something that you're interested in, I will have the timestamps in the description as usual. So we're going to start by lighting this candle, and I just have a sticker of my own art on it, but I kind of use this candle intentionally to create a space. That's why I have the sticker on it that has like a little made space. So we're going to light this match with the intention that it helps us to light this candle, to draw in our guides. Ooh, I don't break it a match. Of the highest wisdom, compassion, ultimate truth, and alignment that are going to communicate and help me to communicate the things that are in the immediate future. So not too far off. Ooh. And not too close, or not too close, not in our past. So we may describe some like past circumstances that are contributing to our future, but it's not going to be focused on the past. And then I'm going to light this match on the candle that we just lit to help us to light this incense. And this is going to also act as an offering and a source of space protection and a tool for us to cleanse the area. You see it's already cleansing, lots of dark smoke coming from this. And we're going to thank the flame. As we put it out and set up our incense in the incense holder. Okay. Make sure that this stays up. I'm going to close that and then do a sound bell really quick just to cleanse the space using sound. Now that our space is cleansed, I am going to introduce the piles and let you see which one is which. So here we have pile 1 with this little tiger's eye piece. Pile 2, turquoise type stone. I know it's not actually it might be turquoise, I'm not really sure, but just a turquoise stone. And then this dark, deep carnelian for pile 3. I'm going to be shuffling on camera, so whichever one calls out to you and you feel is connected with your journey, then you can head to the timestamp there. Otherwise, I will see you in your pile. Bye, friend. Hello, pile 1. If you selected pile 1 or this tiger's eye stone, then this is going to be your what's coming next reading. What unexpected type of thing is coming our way. So I'm going to start for you with this deck, which is the Wildwood Tarot, and I'm cleansing it in the smoke. And we're going to shuffle to start to understand what is headed your way. So I'm just going to start with the question, what is coming for pile 1 that they're not expecting? Beautiful. And we got the star card. And I'm going to set the intention that I'm not reading reversals. So what else is coming? Okay, I actually feel like I need to address what's happening in the present in order to understand what is coming in the immediate future. For you, you, I feel like this is within the next week or the next 2 or 3 days. For you, I really feel like you're very present, and that makes it so that it's difficult for you to anticipate things that are longer term. Sometimes people, it just depends on like our perception of time, but some people, they're very much connected into the past and the present, and time is very loose and lucid and fluid. But for you, I really do feel like time is constantly being constructed in the present moment. It's pretty, not to say that it's inconsistent, but it's ever changing. So what is happening in the present moment for pile 1? I'm going to just lay out cards, and then I'm going to shuffle the Gotham Sea Tarot and lay them underneath for clarifiers. So I'm going to get 4. Move these cards out of the way. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Actually, I need a 5th pile. Actually, no, not yet. Okay. And then we're going to cleanse this deck. Gotham Sea Tarot. This is going to be our first clarifier. Okay, that's interesting. Could we get more clarifiers? Whoa. So, overall, the situation of what's coming towards you is the Star. And when I see this in a reading, the Star is a card of direction. It's a card that is, to me, associated with both Mercury and the sign of Aquarius. Aquarius is an intellectual leader. It's something that pushes us in a direction, causes us to want to push against what has been constructed there. So it's not really about traditions, but it is a fixed sign. So it is about creating things that are long-term changes, because it has this influence of Uranus, and so Uranus being that like really passionate and intense force of change and decision and direction. So for that being the overall energy in your life, I do feel like right now you're in a period that is darker, that is more difficult for you to connect to something beyond yourself. So it may be that like your spirituality is kind of almost out of touch for you. Like it's something that you're not seeing too much in your real life or in like the physical experience of your life. You're not seeing as many signs, you're not feeling the presence of spirit. And that's reflected down here in the cards that are describing your experience right now, kind of through the present moment or like your present circumstances. We have the 10 of Pentacles in the reverse, which says home. The Ace of Wands in the reverse, which says spark of life. 5 of Swords, frustration. And then the Knight of Swords in the reverse, which is the Hawk. So, as a storyline, I feel like this is talking about like not being able to find that grounding. Again, like the 10 of Pentacles in the reverse is, as a starting place, kind of your present, where you are right now. It's an experience, because it's specifically talking about home. It's an experience that is not feeling like you're comfortable. You're not being able to find that security or that stability that a home would provide you. It may also be, I feel like a lot of you have this kind of like movement that you're desiring, but you're stuck in some way. So you might feel trapped by the environment rather than comforted and supported. You may also be in situations where the people around you aren't feeling like home. They're not feeling like family, because home has this connotation of familial relationships, besides being an environment. And so there's something about this environment that's around you that's like stifling and you're wanting to move. This could also be like a physical movement, or there's something that's like kind of just shaken up about your actual environment. The Ace of Wands in the reverse next to it as like your most immediate step is, honestly, I feel like for some of you it's listening to this, or being able to give yourself space to think about the situation that you're in. But something shifts. It's a pretty quick shift too, because do you see how on this card there's like it literally says the spark of life. In life there is death, but I also feel like for life to continue growing, sometimes we need to experience stagnation or experience a period where things aren't moving. In the sign of Wands, or not in the sign, in the suit of Wands, in that experience of fiery energy, it is a transformative energy. So this is something that is like moving forward. And also we got the Ace of Wands in the reverse again underneath the Ten of Pentacles as a clarifier. And this card specifically, it's talking about like documentation, receiving information too. I really do think that this is an experience that almost feels like it's beyond you. Something else will kind of signify to you that this change is occurring. But you can't experience that breakthrough or that change without recognizing where you're at the moment. This like kind of constricting environment or situation. The Ace of Wands is clarified by the Ace of Cups in the Gotham deck, which is interesting because the Ace of Cups is also another start. It's more of an emotional one instead though, so this is going to be referring to like the mind, or mind, body, and spirit all connecting in order to push you into a new direction, where I feel like for a lot of you this is going to be, this does have to do with relationships and the way that your relationships are functioning in the everyday actions, like that, how it influences your environment. There's something that like you need to be able to think something over in order to like act and do something new, because after you decide, okay, this is what I want, I'm gonna start going after this, then we have the Five of Swords, which says frustration. I feel like once you make this decision, you're going to make a decision to go into a new direction. It just depends on which direction you choose to go, and for all of you it's going to be different, but you are being guided. Remember that the star is here kind of as the presiding energy. But I do feel like this is not your own frustration. This is more of like, well, for some of you I feel like it's frustration in terms of like obstacles that you start facing once you decide to go on this new path. But I feel for some of you this is going to be frustration of the people around you. Especially if you're deciding, for some of you this is going to be going into like a new connection, new relationship, or like a new style of relationship, something like that. Like if you only have one partner before, you're going to want to have more than one, or if you've been dating a certain type of person, you may be looking to date different types of people, or if you're living with your family, moving in somewhere else, this could be choosing to get a divorce, things like that. But anyway, it's going to cause some kind of frustration, and to clarify this, we have the Four of Cups in the reverse. This is people not accepting the things that you're offering to them. So if you're giving them, hey, this is the emotion that I'm feeling, this is the route that I'm deciding to give or to take, with this person being offered this cup, the people around you are going to either push back on what you're doing, or they're going to start acting differently. And I don't want to say this to discourage you, but I do think that sometimes when people are contributing to the frustration that is in their environment, they're not always willing to own up to how they have influenced that. In terms of like how the situation ends up, we have the Knight of Swords, the Hawk, as in the reverse. And I feel like this reversed energy is to amplify the energy rather than to show blockage or something, because I do feel like you end up continuing to go ahead. The Knight of Swords is somebody who has directed focus, they are able to charge forth and go ahead with something, but a lot of times it's still in the mental body. So this is going to be in ways that you communicate, or in the ways, again, this Mercury energy is really here. So you could be like Aquarius, not that Aquarius is ruled by Mercury, but Aquarius for that air energy, Gemini or Virgo, or have that prominent in your chart, or something kind of transiting through that area right now. So the Knight of Swords here being this hawk energy, not only is it moving forward, the hawk is also something that can go above, scope out the landscape of the situation, but also really understand the grounded perspective of something in a different way, because being connected to the land but also being able to float above it or rise above it, you're able to get a different look at the situation, and continue to make plans. I feel like you're stepping into an energy where you're going to be able to see, I think that's why I started getting into this idea of understanding time and feeling time. You're gonna be experiencing time differently, and I feel like this is something that maybe you've anticipated for a long time, or you've had eyes on it, but it's going to start to manifest more clearly for you. So if you've had a goal or like a change that you wanted to make, it's going to start to make a lot more sense. To clarify this Knight of Swords, we have the Six of Wands in the reverse. So again, this is a card talking about recognition, but it has a lot of people's faces in it. So I do feel like this is recognizing who's on your team, who's not on your team, who has the ability to support you through this goal, through this change, and who's going to get frustrated. I have a feeling that a lot of you are starting to establish more boundaries or something, or setting boundaries with people, to stand up for yourself. It's healthy, but it just means that you're going to have to understand that your image changes when you do these things, when you make these choices to commit to your own experience. People are going to be like, whoa, this person is switching up, and either they're going to be uncomfortable with the boundaries that you make because they got used to being able to violate them, or they're going to not be very flexible or adaptable, and then there's the third option, which is they adapt to the boundaries that you make and then help to be like, can I do anything to assist you? How can I shift and change and grow with you? I want to get a little bit more. So once pile one commits to this path, or whatever decision that they need to make, or whatever shift in the wind that they need to make, I'm going to finish my question before I turn it over. What is going to be something that needs to be affirmed or reminded to them? And we have, I reside in the present moment where I find my ability to co-create with the universe. This is funny because it does remind me of the time conversation that we were having again. So I feel like some of you are going to start jumping, your mind, your mental body is going to start jumping towards the future, or trying to like detach, again, that detached energy, to pull away from something to see above. And we even have that in the star card right here. But I feel like Spirit's trying to remind you that's not your job really to be all-knowing or be all-seeing. It's more of an experience of getting grounded into where you're at currently, dealing with the circumstances that you have in order to expand and continue in the direction that you want to, and make do with what is currently in your physical environment at the moment, or at the disposal, I guess, of your mental body. So the thoughts and the emotions and the feelings that you're having right now, have worked through that. I want to ask with this deck just a little bit more, elaborating on the blessing aspect of this, and what this is making room for in the lives of pile one. So I'm not going to read reversals of this. I know I said that was the first one, but I didn't really stick to it, but I'm going to do that with this one. So, okay, describing this blessing that is coming out of this situation. We have snake, transformation, change, definitely talking about that change, that turning over of something, being able to look at situations, approach them with different eyes, being more present, being more mindful about the little details rather than just seeing the big picture of things. Because I feel like a lot of you are more big picture rather than detail oriented, and so right now you're having to get into the nitty-gritty of things. Possum, fear and avoidance, being able to understand what you fear. Possums too, they play dead. They have this side to them where they don't want to deal with things, so that's why that avoidance word is there. You're recognizing what you avoid or what you do want to avoid. If you're triggering responses in yourself to avoid things or feel uncomfortable with things, that should be something that stands out to you as, hey, that doesn't align with me, or can I change the way that I have to approach this if I do have to interact with this thing and I can't choose to not be involved. Rabbit, spontaneous. Again, with that Ace of Wands, I really feel it colored a lot of this reading, because you're being able to listen to your own spiritual nudges, your own intuition a lot more and quicker, because some of you, I do feel like you stew on decisions a lot. Because of that odd experience of time, it's hard for you to really be in that present moment and act at a moment's notice. So there is some situation right now that's building that is going to turn into something where you get to have a voice more because you can act like in the present. Something that I would give you as advice as a reader would just be based on this affirmation. I'm going to read it again in a sec. Going into a state of trying to notice 5 things that you see, 5 things that you hear, maybe 2 tastes that you have, 3 bodily sensations that you have, and then maybe journaling the response that you're having from that experience of like sensory input. So I reside in the present moment where I find my ability to co-create with the universe. So this is recognizing that like your reactions and your responses to situations that you're finding yourself subject to also help to shape the situation as well. So that's all I'm getting for you, pile 1. I hope that this resonated or assisted you in some way today. I want to thank your guides, my guides, every other force in the universe that has brought us together today for this reading. I want to offer you my gratitude and let you know that I'm so honored to be in this position, and I will see you in another video. Bye, my friend. Hello, pile 2. If you selected pile 2 or this turquoise stone, then this is going to be your unexpected blessing reading, or just something that you can expect to find you in the immediate future. So I want this to be very much an assessment of your present, but then also kind of a bit of an expansion of what you are pulling towards you or drawing towards you. I want to cleanse the space with sound before we go into this reading, just to create another space like I did before I did pile 1. So yeah, so let's clear the air and allow for your guidance of wisdom, compassion, and truth that is specifically assigned to pile 2 to collectively communicate with me to bring you a message that is going to resonate. I want to start with Gotham Tarot for you. Actually, no, I'm being drawn to this deck. So I want to start, what is this one called? Flowers from the Dead. This is an oracle deck. So I'm going to cleanse this. And then we're going to start shuffling to understand the energy that you are drawing in the present moment. So I want card 2. I'm gonna do like a couple rows, and each one is going to be clarifying the other. And I think 4 cards worked well for pile 1, so we're going to do that again. So I want 4 cards to describe a step-by-step kind of walk through this situation. I'm going to say that time is a bit more back and forth with you. So it's like something happens, you understand it later, so you have to go back in time in your mind to understand what was happening there, but you get the fruits of the wisdom later in time. But in the meantime, you solve other problems, if that makes sense. So you're kind of going back and forth and back and forth. But in the moment that you're experiencing it, you're also trying to anticipate how it's influencing the future. So you're moving into the future while you're in the present. I do feel like for some of you, it's difficult to be in the present moment. And so, yeah, this is going to be, right now, an experience of something where you're drawing towards you clarity, like information about something. Yeah. Okay. And I do feel like this has to do with like relationship or like situationships that you've been going through. So if you are not experiencing something like that at this time, this may be a message that you happen upon that's not exactly yours. So yeah, if you're in a complicated relationship or a complicated relationship with relationships, some of you, then that's what we're going to be talking about. So, this card wants to clarify the first one. I'm going to shuffle a little bit more and then get clarifiers for the other ones. I feel like a lot of you, you're going through something that you've been going through for a while. Clarify for the third card. Clarifier for the fourth. Before I get the final clarifiers, I want to start introducing these cards that we have going on because I'm starting to get an idea of what's happening. So, first card, which is I guess if we're going to look at this in a linear sense, this is more of a present energy, and then the other ones are going to be a bit more future present, if that makes sense. But, okay, we're going to start somewhere. So, you have diplomacy, kindness. Then you have the horse, card 8, travel, stamina. The crow, 10, mystery, magic. And then flamingo, 42, romance, love, and this one's in the reverse. And then to clarify, underneath diplomacy and kindness, we have the hangman or the mirror in the reverse. I'll let you see this card a little bit. Horse underneath is Knight of Wands, fox. Underneath the crow, King of Pentacles, wolf. And underneath the flamingo, we have the stack, or I think this is the justice card. Yeah, it's justice. Okay, so like I said, you've been in this situation for a while. You're recognizing that romance or love, like the flamingo is saying in the reverse, is different than what you expected. With the Justice card clarifying that romance and love in the reverse, I feel like there's something here where you are recognizing that you're giving in more than you're getting back, or for some of you, you are getting back more than you're giving in. So you're in a situation where like love, it's not that love has died, it's just love has changed in a way that it's not really serving one of the parties involved. I feel like for some of you, this is trying to add in something. So some of you may have brought something into a relationship, brought something into a connection, even a connection with yourself. There's just another like outside factor that for some of you is influencing the way that this dynamic works, and it's just not working for you. Mystery and magic, I do feel like for some of you, there's a warning that like magic is involved, or like the kind of energy that somebody's put out has drawn something in that was asked for, but like not. It's almost like when you like interact with a genie or something, and you know how in like fairy tales they make a wish, somebody makes a wish, and then they get a stipulation that they didn't exactly intend for. Not to say that the universe works in that way, but I do feel like there's some kind of trickiness that's going on here, especially with the appearance of a fox. As soon as I saw this card, it's underneath the horse card to clarify it, but I do really feel like there's someone involved in a situation that's going on that's not being exactly truthful with you, and I do feel like you know who this is, and if that doesn't resonate, move on from that message. But for some of you, there is somebody involved that isn't very trustworthy, or they've got a one-track mind. A lot of you are dealing with somebody who has a one-track mind. They have one thing on their mind, they want that one thing, and they're not going to do anything else to kind of be flexible about that. With where I feel like you currently are with the diplomacy, kindness, and then the hangman in the reverse being the mirror. This is the mirror is a card of like self-reflection, but through a situation, and I feel like in the reverse it's almost like you feeling like you're anticipating the other shoe to drop, you're anticipating something frustrating to happen, but it's just not happening. Things feel kind of stuck, or like they're repeating. You may be having conversations with somebody that feel like neither of you are being honest or truthful, and so then you're just back and forth. I don't know why this hand motion is really going with this situation, but diplomacy and kindness, for the sake of that, you're trying to be diplomatic about how you're approaching it. I do feel like if you're recognizing things that are frustrating to you, you should be a little bit more clear about it, be a little bit more honest, do some throat chakra type work, and I also feel like grounding. So like your throat and your root, there's some kind of imbalance, because your root feels like there's a possibility for you to not be not deserve what you want, or not be able to get it. It's like a lack mindset that comes from like an insecurity place, or like a place of instability, or expecting instability, and so you don't want to rock the boat by expressing it, so then you're blocking your throat chakra there by like not being able to communicate properly. With the King of Pentacles influencing the Crow card, which is mystery and magic, I do feel like this is keeping you from being able to do something like career-wise. So there's some way that you usually funnel your passion into, or your life energy. There's something about like long-term goals that are being blocked by this specific situation, and ending out on the Stag card there to clarify this romance and love being in the reverse. It's like you need to, it's almost like spirit put a block or an obstacle, throwing like a monkey wrench into the situation for you to recognize, oh, this is revealing that there's a lot more of a problem here that I've been kind of sweeping under the rug and not recognizing. The Knight of Wands also can actually be talking about specific movement again, and the moon card, or the moon on this King of Pentacles, is about, again, mystery, magic. The moon is very elusive, and the moon shows up here on the mirror card too. There's something about your own subconscious that is contributing to the situation more than you recognize. It's almost like you're trying to be a version of yourself that is super kind and super nice and agreeable and likable, but it's not because you actually think that it's going to do anything good. It's almost like it's doing the opposite of what you want, because you're trying to be so kind, you're trying to be so nice, and it's actually making it more confusing for everyone, because you're not representing yourself in an authentic way. So, and people aren't mind readers, you know, so they can't recognize it. And I feel like if you're afraid of like hurting someone's ego by telling them what's going on, you're actually just like hurting them in the long run, because they're gonna keep doing that thing that's really uncomfortable that you don't enjoy. Yeah. And the Three of Cups in the reverse came out. So this is going to be the clarifier for this row. Clarifier for the Horse and Knight of Wands, Six of Pentacles. Again, that thing about balance. There's something about like things not being balanced. I do feel like a lot of you feel like you're giving a lot, but it's more that you're not giving what is authentic. Clarify for the third row. Interesting. Clarify for the last row. Okay, Nine of Pentacles. So I feel like you're going into a place where you're going to have a lot more clarity. Like things are going to start making a lot more sense. And that's really good. But it might be something that doesn't feel comfortable at the moment. It almost might be like you switch into, if you're in white thinking, you're going to be in black thinking, if that makes sense. Like those two polarities, it's going to be a really harsh shift. But once you strike a balance between the two, you're going to really understand what's going on. So because of this like kind attitude that you've adopted, it's making it so that you suffer. Some of you also may be turning to other things to bond with. That might be pets. It might be just coping mechanisms in general. Some of you, that might be substances as well. And I'm not here to put anything over that situation because I feel like that's different. But it definitely has roots in this emotional situation where you don't feel like you're getting what you want out of it, and so it's making it so that you feel like you have to bond with things outside of the situation because you can't communicate. The Six of Pentacles again, if somebody also with the Knight of Wands is coming at you in a way that's frustrating or like just inconsiderate or unkind, it may make it so that you feel like you have to be the nice or the mediator of the situation, have that diplomacy again. But instead, I feel like there is a way to strike a balance between being kind and compassionate and having compassionate communication and still getting your point across. Being able to recognize that other people are watching you, seeing what you're doing, but you're not the spotlight. Like, you can continue behaving and acting the way that you need to without being the one that's responsible for the entirety of the situation. The Four of Cups in the reverse. Again, with that magic thing, I do feel like there's a sense of like manipulation or something. Like, but also a need to, because this Four of Cups is in reverse, there's a need to not feel bored. I feel like some of you have an opportunity to sit and reflect on the situation or reflect on how it's making you feel, but you're just like, no, I don't want to see that that's the emotion that I'm feeling, or see that there's like this option that I'm not considering because it's painful for me. For a lot of you too, I feel like there's just some kind of like expecting things to change or expecting things to miraculously shift, and that's just, I don't feel like that's reasonable. Not because things can't miraculously shift, but I feel like this is a much slower moving situation than that. But the Knight of Pentacles being here as the like landing energy or the ending situation, I feel like this is a card of comfort, right? This is a card again with the moon right there, where this person, see how this person's holding the moon over here on the far side in the Hangman, where things are stuck. And it's hard to self-reflect. Over here, you're able to self-reflect and see that there's a lot of abundance in the situation. It's just more about how you view your own subconscious and like view the shadow aspects of yourself. The shadow aspects of ourselves sometimes are things that we don't recognize because we don't want to see that that's something that we're contributing to situations. But this person ends up holding it. They're like confident and comfortable with that like side of themselves. I also feel like this is like self-love and self-appreciation because you're recognizing that you're learning a lot. That's also what I think that this stag card, which this Nine of Pentacles is clarifying, is showing. It's showing that like it has a drum, there's like a consistent beat, there's a rhythm to something. And this is all clarifying that romance and love in the reverse. So you're able to recognize what comfort looks like for you and feels like for you. I want to get one affirmation just to kind of close out this reading and give you some support at this time, because I do feel like this is a time in your life that may be more painful. We got 3 affirmations. So, I'm a champion of love. I don't give power to fear. There you go. Second affirmation. I use my senses to effectively transform situations I am in. What did I say? I feel like the sensory experience, like some of you may feel this desire to get really stuck in like the emotions, and specifically in anger, or like these secondary emotions like defensiveness and that kind of a thing, that keep you from being able to really tap into the emotional frequency of the situation. Using your senses to understand, okay, feeling wise, what is going on in my body, what is going to bring me comfort right now, what is making things worse, but also your senses are the way that you process information that comes in. So like if you're not listening all the way, you're not focused, you're not fully using your senses to their full ability. And I know that there are things that mess with our sensory experience, but like being able to fine-tune that sensory experience when you're having a conversation, or there's something that's highly emotional that may make it more difficult for you to tap into those senses. Just recognizing the things that support that sensory experience, and then developing that. And then I deserve more than what I am accepting right now. Sometimes this kind of an affirmation that says, I deserve more than what I am accepting right now. It's difficult to accept that affirmation sometimes, but it's also really empowering to be like, hey, I am not asking for what I deserve because I don't recognize that I deserve it. I feel like there's a lot of self-worth that's wrapped up into this group, and you're gonna start recognizing that you have a lot more options in the very near future. So let these things start to balance out, weigh your options, put things on two sides, put them up against each other, and see how they work. So I hope that this resonated, and I hope that this allowed you to see that there are things that are going to be coming out of this pain, and through this like kind of frustrating experience that you may be going through. But otherwise, I want to thank your guides, my guides, every other force in the universe that brought us together today for this reading. I want to let you know that I am honored and truly humbled to be in this position and to share these messages with you. Otherwise, I will see you in another video. Bye, friends. Hello, pile 3. If you selected pile 3 or this carnelian stone, then this is going to be your unexpected blessings reading. So I want to start by cleansing the space. Oh, I didn't even have to hit it. And just allowing for the guides of the highest wisdom, truth, and compassion to come through and assist me at this moment as I begin your reading. So I want to start with the Gotham-Sea Tarot, and we're going to cleanse it just to help make a clean slate, not have any energy that's left over from other readings in the deck. And we're going to start shuffling with the intention that the cards that support communicating what is on its way to you based on your present come to where they need to be in the deck. Okay, we have cards coming out. Okay, so this is describing, in the bottom of the deck energy is the Empress. So I do feel like there's a lot of like physical and material abundance that's coming towards you, and I'm not going to read reversals right now. So 5 of Pentacles, Page of Pentacles, and the Ace of Wands. So rather than seeing this as like forced isolation or feeling left out, having that FOMO experience, I feel like this is intentionally isolating yourself, and I feel like this is something that you've already been consciously working on. The Page of Pentacles is someone who is slow moving. They are able to think outside the box, build things for themselves, be very self-independent, but they still have a lot to learn. So maybe those like technical skills, or like grounded understandings of like materials, or like an actual process, how to like do something step by step, it's not quite as accessible for that archetype. But that doesn't mean that you aren't on the way there. I feel like you have the Page of Pentacles being something that almost represents you in this reading. I feel like is you having very grounded understanding of what's going on. So rather than being like worrisome or drawn by your emotions, driven by like fleeting impulses, you are able to really meticulously form a game plan about something. For some of you, this is financial. This is being able to receive money and then plan out how to spend it or how to invest it. For others of you, this is getting a job, being able to have some kind of material stability. But I don't think that this is something that is permanent for anyone. Not that anything really is permanent, but I just don't see this being as much of a long-lasting thing. I think that this is something that's going to support you for a good amount of time, but as you progress and as you gain experience. For a lot of you also, this could be figuring out, like finding a new teacher, some kind of like information influx that is going to be really inspiring for you, because there's this Ace of Wands here, which is somebody who is being able to communicate. Oops, it's an energy too. I don't think, I mean, there's a humanish figure on this card, but we have the Frankenstein up in the back, so it's like synthesizing a lot of different things, being able to bring them together and then communicating something different. So what was once kind of barren or a bunch of random materials, you're bringing it together. And I do feel like there's a very, not just that there's earthy cards here, there is just an earthy presence to whatever this is. So this is going to be something that's very physical and manifesting for you. For some of you also, I'm getting the message that this has to do with like your physical body or like the way that your physical body functions. So this could be a change in your health. But in order for you to isolate, this could also be mental health, so don't just take health as a physical thing, but there's something in the way that you function that is being shifted in order to give you the ability to go off in a new direction. I feel like this is also a deepening of your spirituality, and I want to get a little bit of clarifiers on these three cards, but yeah, I do really think that there's something that has to do with the physical meeting the spiritual and then turning into something, some kind of project or something. It's like the answers that you never knew you needed. So let me get a clarifier for the Five of Pentacles. Oh, okay. The Page of Pentacles, please. Okay, I got 2 cards. And with these, I guess I will read reversals. I don't think that they really change their meanings in this deck, at least. And actually, yeah, depending on, card meanings change depending on whatever spread you're doing. And the Ace of Wands. Okay, beautiful. This is what I was seeing. Perfect. So this is just affirming it and adding a little bit of depth. So, Five of Pentacles. To clarify this card, we have the Hummingbird in the reverse, which is unique, distinctive. So again, Five of Pentacles is you choosing to walk away from situations. I feel like you're already involved in some job or you're involved in some project or something and you're willingly setting it down, but I do feel like there's a social aspect to this. So you're either in a group of people that are also doing the same thing, or they have a similar viewpoint, or they were encouraging you or something. For some of you, this is like moving schools or something. You're taking a step away. I'm gonna see what this card is because it keeps flying off the top in a minute, but you're just recognizing that your path or what you're doing is so unique, it's so distinctive, it's so like specific that you can't listen to everybody's influence, everybody's opinion on it. The Page of Pentacles, oh, for some of you, yeah, this is literally finding something that is so passionate to you, something that is just going to light this fire inside of you and get you to move forward, because we have the Flamingo and the Scorpion that came out together. The Flamingo says romance and love, the Scorpion says anger, spite. And I feel like together with the Page of Pentacles being that like initiating energy, and then these being clarifying, it's almost like for some of you, this is going to be realizing something about someone that's in your past, or something about actually something that's in your present almost. Like it may be, okay, that this group or this person, it could be one person, it could be a group of people, but this is a general reading, so take what resonates. Once you decide to walk away from this situation, you're going to recognize how much love that you need to put into yourself, while understanding that you've had anger, or you've been doing things out of spite, out of like what the response to it is going to be. The intention that you put behind something that you're producing is really important to how it is going to come out in the end. And by doing so, by recognizing all these different contributing factors and having a new perspective be put onto this, underneath the Ace of Wands, we have empowerment, freedom. This is your ability to step into a place where you're getting more of what you originally intended out. I do feel like also it's a coming back to your own self. It's being able to make this shelter within yourself so that you can operate more authentically. And I want to see what this card is. Peacock, lighthearted, laughter. The peacock is like that hummingbird, very unique, very distinctive, but it's also almost like so beautiful and so genuine that other people will like naturally watch. With this empowerment and freedom that is coming to you through this like recognition of like new information, you're going to be able to use that anger as a tool, because I feel like sometimes we see anger as a undesirable emotion, but you're going to be stepping into a place where you get to use this anger just as much as you would love. Like I feel like sometimes we see those things as opposing forces, but I really see this love and this anger working together in order for you to like really be passionate about whatever you're doing and put your best foot forward. With that lighthearted laughter as well, I believe in like there's a myth about peacock, I think it's Palo or something, but the peacock gets all these eyes on the tail, and that's a very like, you think of a peacock, you think of the tail with the eyes, and I feel like this is like an upgrade of like the third eye. So because you're seeing things in a more spiritually understanding way, like being alone doesn't really feel like being alone. Standing apart from a group feels empowering rather than isolating. It's just the way that you view being alone. I do recommend spending some time alone for you if you haven't already had the chance to recently. I'm going to cleanse this deck, and I want to get a little bit more of an idea of what's happening in this project, or like what this information looks like, how it will find you. So can we get an idea of how this isolation and this study or information we'll be finding? Pile 3. One card. And one more. Okay. Knight of Swords and the Four of Cups. Boredom and Hawk. So for some of you, I feel like this is now split. So for one of them is going to resonate, maybe not both, or maybe both, depending, you know. So Four of Cups, boredom. You're going to stumble upon it. I feel like a lot of you, this is going to be an algorithm type thing. Like you're going to find your own line somewhere, and it's going to send you into a rabbit hole, and you're going to be pulled out of a place where you're being bored, or you're gonna have, I also feel like for some of you, it's like you're gonna be offered a lot of little breadcrumbs in your free time, and you're gonna be like, how the heck do all these different things relate to each other? And then boom, Knight of Swords, you're gonna have this moment where you step back from all of them and you stop trying to figure out their meaning, and then it's gonna click. They're all gonna come together. I'm seeing like a collage. For others of you, if it's not something that you stumble upon randomly, it's something that somebody gives to you. I do feel like this is an individual who, like the Knight of Swords being represented as this hawk, there's somebody who's kind of come and go, or they swoop in with a motive, and they're also somebody who's somewhat of a recluse or a loner in that way, but they have similar passions to you. They're kind of doing their own thing on their own time. We all have different friends. They have different personalities and different ways of communicating and relating to us, but I feel like this is definitely a person that you already know, or you meet randomly, and they are just kind of there to serve the purpose of delivering to you this inspiration. So yeah, I want to get one more card about, yeah, from here. Sorry. What you can do to prepare before this energy comes in. 7 of Pentacles in the reverse, and this says healing. So I feel like letting yourself rest, but also it's like constructive rest, so like intentional rest, and I feel like this is more of like spiritual practice. So not to say that there is one way or a specific form to practice spirituality in, but I do feel like those things that you think of traditionally when you're thinking about spiritual practices, so like this could be meditating, receiving Reiki, doing yoga, going on mindful walks, things that are restorative, specifically for your own spirit. For some of us, I think that like restorative things are things that we haven't really defined as restorative, like watching TV, taking a bath, like cleaning up your space. So making that space for you to have the time to be bored might be helpful. So to close out, I want to get some affirmations of this like isolation type period that you're going into. I got 2 affirmations. So first one, my head and heart communicate freely. I allow my thoughts to engage with my feelings in harmony. Yeah, for a lot of you, because this isn't very an emotional reading, or really about the emotions, I feel like there are emotional things that like once you give them the space to exist, it's going to allow for these physical things to start taking place. So you address, hey, this situation isn't serving me anymore emotionally. You give yourself the freedom to let things move physically. I feel like that emotional thing is going to be almost like the spark that moves everything else on, and then allows you to have that space to like communicate. The Ace of Wands is definitely about communication and starting a new way of communication, like I think artistically or creatively, or like making something, and so you're gonna be able to once you have like a clearer heart, you get a clearer mind, everything kind of goes in line. And then also like spiritually, you're gonna feel more in touch with your emotions, and like with the emotions. Allowing like your more intense emotions or like deeper emotions to like have space. So giving yourself the place to rest. I feel like this is an emotional healing experience for you. So I am not too sensitive for having intense emotions. Again, I am not too sensitive for having intense emotions. Whenever there's a transition period in our life and we choose to walk away from something, even when we know that something good is going to come out of that, like walking away, there's still a loss and there's still a grieving period. And I feel like that's also going back to that Scorpion card, like that anger. Scorpions transform. They turn into the Phoenix, like, and then the Eagle. They have that like character arc, but there is suffering that goes on in between, and like if they don't give themselves the the space to experience that suffering. Like, there is no transformation. Suffering sometimes is our teacher, and not to say that every experience of suffering like teaches us. Sometimes it just happens and like you don't deserve it, but I feel like what we do with that experience of suffering really gets to dictate how we look back on it. For a lot of you, it's kind of choosing to not only like validate your anger and use it effectively, but like recognizing that you're not a victim of your circumstances. Like, you're allowed to experience emotionally what you need to experience, but not like get caught up in the emotion, like those emotions that aren't very like easily communicated. So yeah, this is very much a validation of your own feelings, and then being able to let yourself act on it. Because if you're not able to validate how you're feeling, it's much harder to like make those decisions, especially to walk away from things. So yeah, I think that's it. I want to thank your guides, my guides, and every other force in the universe that brought us together today for this reading. I want to let you know that I'm so honored and so humbled to be in this position, and to deliver messages that resonate with you. Otherwise, I will see you in another video, friends, and I hope you have a blessed day.